Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Maria, and if you have been waiting for me to do a video for a while, I am so sorry. It's been crazy. I'm feeling a lot better today, but it's just been kind of what I've been calling a reader life crisis, where my kids are kind of shifting around how they're doing things, so I'm having to revamp how I read and how I film, how I get other things done. So I think I'm back on the right track, but the last couple weeks were a little frustrating in the realm of parenting. My husband is a very, very good man and just he's been dealing with his own stress, and just yesterday, I had just reached my saturation point. Even though I'd gotten a break on Mother's Day, he was really great and let me go out just to enjoy myself for a while by myself. But yeah, I needed to get in last night. So it's been rough lately, but we're pulling through. Yeah, 2-year-olds are hard. If anybody tells you differently, they've never had a 2-year-old. And I know 3 gets worse, so don't tell me that. I remember. So that said, I have enjoyed the books that I've read so far in May. Even though I feel like I've been floating around from here and there, my brain has not landed in about, I don't know, a month and a half. So I'm working on kind of getting my focus back. But anyway, here we go with my wrap up of what I have read so far, as well as what I'm in the middle of. So first up is Blood for Blood. This is the second in a duo by Ryan Groudon. She also wrote The Walled City, which I've not yet read, but plan to. This was a great follow-up to Wolf by Wolf. It is a fiction, speculative historical fiction of if World War II had been won by the Nazis. And in it, I think I have done a review of the first one, so I will link it below if I can find it. But Yael is a Jew that has been experimented on and escaped from a camp. And she, because of the experiments, can change her skin to look like other people. And so she has been tasked with becoming an assassin to Hitler. She's supposed to impersonate the former victor of the motorcycle race that they do every year to celebrate their victory, and then she's supposed to kill Hitler. So that is what the first book is about, and that's not a spoiler. It's on the jacket. But I loved in the first one how they went back through and talked about different people that had affected her, so you kind of get her history. And there's some other really good minor characters as well. It is classified as YA, so but I think even if you're not a YA reader, you'd enjoy this. What I liked about Blood for Blood is that it also talks about the history of several of the other characters that you care about, but you really want to know more of the history of from the first one. That's covered in here. And I think it had a spectacular ending, really. Yeah, it was a good ending. I was pretty satisfied with that. I liked the follow-up from all the characters. So yeah, Ryan Groudon is definitely an author that I'm going to be putting on my watch list, and I will be picking up The Walled City at some point. I think she also did a third, extra story about one of the characters from this, but I'm okay with just having read the duo. So anyway, Blood for Blood by Ryan Groudon. Pick up Wolf by Wolf first. Otherwise, this one will not make sense. At Home in the World, I did a separate review on, and I will link that below as well. This is by Tish Oxenreider. It is a travel memoir about her and her family's visit around the world and what that was like for them. This was very uplifting, very encouraging, provocative imagery. I mean, I felt like I was in the places she was describing, which was great because, yeah, I needed a break from reality. So thanks, Tish. Next up is Jane Eyre. I buddy read this with Krista from Books and Jams, and I finally finished last night around 11:30. This was a reread for me. If you are not familiar with Jane Eyre, which, of course, you're familiar with Jane Eyre, it is a fiction classic that I think really lives up to its hype. I read it in high school for an academic competition that I was a part of. So I had read it, trying to do more examination and recalling details and those kinds of things. I don't know, I guess about 20 years ago now. So it had been a very, very long time. I remember the premise, but look at all of these great lines that I tagged in here. That should tell you just right off the bat how much I enjoyed the book. One of the things I did want to tell you, there's a line in here. I would always rather be happy than dignified. And I appreciated that because I am not a very dignified person most of the time. And I have no problem making an idiot out of myself if it makes somebody laugh. And I felt like Jane was kind of a kindred spirit. Another thing that I really enjoyed about this, there's another quote: "To be together is for us to be at once as free as in solitude, as gay as in company." And I think this reminded me of my husband. He is more of an introvert. And at one point he had told me, being around you it doesn't count for being around people. Because I'd asked him if he needed some space, because I know he'd been extroverting a lot and just needed a break. And he said, no, being around you doesn't count. Like it's like being by myself. And I just really appreciated this very eloquent way of saying the exact same thing. So Jane is a heroine with great chutzpah. She tells it like it is. She doesn't enjoy being talked to and will stand up for herself, which I really appreciated that about this time period. You definitely get a feel for how orphans and other people who did not have money were treated. There were a couple of hang-ups or slower parts where I had to kind of push on through. If you are not familiar with French, sometimes that might kind of catch you off guard. It's been a while since I've taken French. There's not too terribly much in here, but sometimes you're just like, oh my goodness, I need a translator. So that might be a little bit unnerving for some people. But really, Jane was just a very fun character to read about. I loved how she didn't care about what others thought, knew exactly what she wanted, and wouldn't settle for less. Very inspiring. So I will definitely keep this around and probably pick it up again at some point. So Jane Eyre, definitely a good read. And thanks, Krista, for being so very, very patient with me as I trudged through. This next one I also finished up last night, and it was so fun. I needed this one. Can't We Talk About Something More Pleasant by Roz Chast. This is a graphic memoir, and it was delightful. I read it in probably 2 or 3 big chunks. It's illustrated, obviously, but it kind of has illustrations that remind me of Far Side Gallery a little bit. It is about this woman who is in her, 30s or 40s, and her parents are definitely degrading quickly, and they are not the type of people who want to plan for the future, talk about the future, accept what's happening to them. And she's trying to negotiate that very tricky territory between trying to raise your own family, but also trying to be a good daughter. She's an only child, so she's doing it all alone. It was so funny, but also you knew there was so much truth in what was happening, and sadness and hardship. And she hits all of the chords as far as explaining the push and pull between your responsibilities and wanting things to be over when they're hard, but also feeling guilty about wanting it to be over. It was just done very, very well. I highly recommend it. It was a fast read, but I wanted to read it right now before I entered this stage of life. I'm hoping that's a long ways off, but yeah, it was a fun read, and I laughed, but also just, felt emotional for it too. These last 3 I am in the middle of, and actually there's one more, but it's in the other room. I'm in the middle of Murder on the Orient Express that I've been slowly, again, trudging through. Tome Topolathon was really hard because I had to stick with very long books for a long time, and I'm used to variety and mixing it up, and I haven't quite found my course since Tome Topolathon. I probably won't be doing that again. Gilead I read about half of in one night, and this is by Marilynne Robinson, which most people have heard of. She did Lila and Home as well, about the same kind of characters in the community. But Gilead is about an older man preacher who is dying, and he has a younger son, so he's trying to write down kind of his story and his thoughts for his son. It is very beautiful. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I just wish I had more focus to give to it right now, which is how I feel about everything. So, oh well, sometimes you just have to be okay with it. So I can read again later if I need to. East of Eden is, again, Steinbeck, so I'm getting through Steinbeck. I really enjoy the characters in here, and you can see I kind of marked it up a little bit. But yeah, there are not very many likable characters in East of Eden. If you've read it, I am enjoying the lines as usual. I'm just wishing I was at a different point where my head was clearer, which is probably why I've been slowly trudging through it, because honestly, I want to enjoy it. And my brain is such right now that there's just like, again, I can't focus hardly on anything that is deep and loving, because there's just too many thoughts out there. And last up is a Short History of Nearly Everything by Bill Bryson. This is not going to be like a I pick up and read for a very long time book. I've just kind of picked up, read bits of it. Bill Bryson's point is most of us have gotten very annoyed with science books that are dry and boring, and science is not dry and boring, so he wants you to enjoy it. So I'm kind of enjoying that because I want to learn a bit more about the science that I really am excited about. I just sometimes need somebody to explain it in a more interesting way. So that is what I read the first part of May. I have children hovering over me, so I will let you go. Thank you so much for sticking with me, and yeah, I plan on putting out several more videos in the next couple weeks. So hopefully my video slump is over and I am rejuvenated. Yes, hopefully the focus will come back. But you've all, I'm sure, have been there at that point in your life when you're just trying to figure out how to get back to new normal. I'll talk to you later. Bye.